your guide on how to cook and prepare meat toppings for pho đặc biệt, house special pho. The instructions will be for vien, bap or thit, sach, vien, and thigh, beef balls, beef brisket or shank, tripe, tendon, and raw beef slices. Starting with vien, beef balls. I prefer cutting these in half, but you can leave them whole or cut them into quarters. You'll cook these as you go, so store them into a container. When you're ready to eat pho, that's when you'll cook them. Add them into your broth and bring it to a boil. Once boiling, your beef balls should be ready and you can add them into your bowl of pho. Moving on to thit or bap, beef shank. First, we blanch. To blanch, bring a pot of water with your beef shank to boil. As it comes to a boil, you will need to skim out any impurities that float to the top. When this comes to a boil, immediately turn off your heat and rinse your beef shank under cold water. Pressure cook your beef shank in your pho broth for 30 minutes, NPR 15 minutes. After you've NPR'd for 15 minutes, take it out and we're going to allow it to completely cool before thinly slicing. If you slice while it's still hot, it will crumble, so don't do that. Store in a container and that's it. This one's pretty easy. Next is our sach, which is tripe. Tripe is the stomach of a cow. There's not a whole lot of flavor to it. It's stringy and bouncy with a sandy green-like texture. Because it's a stomach, it will be dinky. To get rid of the odor, we're going to give her a quick rinse under cold water and then generously rub with salt and let it sit for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, thoroughly rinse your tripe under cold water. Make sure you take your time and rinse the salt off completely, otherwise your tripe will be extremely salty. Thinly slice your tripe. Store in a completely separate container away from everything else. When you're ready to eat, give them a quick blanch in boiling hot broth, about 1 minute. Next up, vien, which is tendon. Tendon is a connective tissue that holds the muscle to the bone. The flavor is very mild and it has a gelatinous texture. To clean, we're going to do the same thing as we did with tripe. Give it a quick rinse under cold water and generously rub with salt and allow it to sit for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, thoroughly rinse under cold water. To cook, bring a pot of water to boil. Once boiling, add your tendon and bring it back to a boil. Reduce your heat to simmer and cook for approximately 1 to 1.5 hours. Your tendon will go through a stage of being rock hard. After that stage, it will have a squishy outer layer. When that happens, your tendon is ready and you can turn off your heat. Allow your tendon to cool before thinly slicing. You can store these in the same container as your beef balls and beef shank. Last but not least, thigh, which is raw beef slices. The cut is usually beef eye round or sirloin. The topping is placed raw into your bowl. By the time the bowl gets to you, your beef slices are cooked. It gets cooked when hot broth is poured over your bowl, which is why it's important your beef is thinly sliced. There's a few ways to thinly slice. One way is through your butcher. Ask him or she to thinly slice it for you. The other method is to do it yourself with a mandolin or vegetable spiralizer like I have here. If you're doing it yourself, your beef needs to be frozen but slightly defrosted. I let mine defrost for 1 hour before slicing. If you have a smaller piece of beef, then it'll take less time.